morning. I'm going to be talking to you today about a proposal for expansion and funding of recovery housing. James Place currently operates the only recovery housing in Kennebec County open to the public. Due to the high demand, there is a shortage of beds, and on any given day, the program maintains a wait list of 20 people. The wait can stretch from days to 6 months. And for people who cannot wait, the volunteers are often only left with one option: connect them with the local rooming house. The local rooming house is located in the middle of the most drug-exposed neighborhood in the community and does not support the recovery process in any way. To the contrary, it actively encourages alcohol and drug use. Research has shown a direct correlation between rates of fatal overdoses and living in environments that do not support recovery. And in 2017, 47 people died in Kennebec County as a direct result of a fatal overdose, and those numbers have continued to skyrocket in 2018. James Place began as a way to honor James Reynolds. He was a person in recovery who was a part of a close group of helping others. By being brutally honest, he was able to reach people in a really authentic way. He believed that all people deserve access to recovery. And in 2018, the group of volunteers began with only $20 and a landlord who wanted to try something different. From that time, the organization has expanded into 2 separate recovery residences, supporting 14 individuals in their journey. James Place has also transitioned into a 501c3 nonprofit organization with a full board of directors and gained certification through the Maine Association of Recovery Residences. In 2018, 72% of the total guests served fell below the poverty line and received a 1-week scholarship from either James Place, a local church, or general assistance to cover rental expenses at the time of move-in. That is because James Place's mission is to provide recovery-oriented housing that is safe, stable, low cost, and low barrier, regardless of the ability of a person to pay. The organization has been run solely by people in long-term recovery and recovery allies, collaborating on a volunteer basis to make it possible. Thousands of hours of manpower have been poured into grassroots fundraising, the daily management of the houses, and the intake and support of guests. Because James Place is not merely a safe place to stay, it is a starting point for building a new life. Volunteers are present for the people who stay. They support guests in making connections, finding work, completing life tasks, meeting court requirements, connecting with their children, finding any resource they need, and sometimes even having fun. They host community events and volunteer days with the guests, have breakfast at local restaurants, and attend treatment graduations together, and more. They also administrate drug screens, enforce rules, ask people to leave when they cannot meet the requirements of the house, and other tasks that are not fun, but are necessary. Additionally, the guests themselves have proven to be resources for helping each other and giving back to the community. James Place would not have been able to thrive the way that it has without the support of their community. Fresh Starts and community members have supplied all household items at no cost. Small business owners like College Carryout have organized successful fundraisers. State senators and representatives like Matt Pouliot and dedicated board members have donated their time, financial support, and voices to the cause. Landlords have waived security deposits and offered their locations at discounted rates. Recovery housing specifically means a shared living environment that is free from alcohol and illicit drugs. It is centered on peer support and connection to services which promote sustained recovery from substance use. SAMHSA defines recovery as a process of change through which individuals improve their health and wellness, live a self-directed life, and strive to reach their full potential. Recovery residences support all major pillars of the recovery process: health, home, purpose, and community. James Place does this through the requirements of the house. Each guest is required to remain abstinent from all substances not prescribed by a doctor, attend outpatient treatment in the community, work, volunteer, or attend higher education 20 hours a week, participate in pro-social meetings at least 4 times a week, submit to random drug and alcohol testing and a medication count, as well as attend weekly house meeting and participate in coordinated volunteer days in the community. Guests are also expected to pay $150 a week to live in the apartment. But does it work? There was a statistical project to consider if there is a difference in a person's intake score and 30-day score. James Place uses the Recovery Capital Assessment to measure the volume of internal and external assets that can be brought to bear to initiate and sustain long-term recovery from alcohol and other drugs. The long story short is that yes, James Place does make a statistical difference in a person within the first 30 days of them living in the house. Of the 14 guests who completed both the intake and 30-day questionnaire, the mean intake score was 111, and the mean 30-day score was 138. That means that there was a mean increase in recovery capital of 27 points during the first 30 days of James Place. The p-value of this test calculated to 0.000592, and because p is less than alpha of 0.01, the hypothesis was accepted that James Place creates change within a person within the first 30 days. As of March of 2019, there was 91 recovery residences operating across the state. The houses are currently disproportionately located within Cumberland County, with only a handful scattered across 6 other counties. And despite extensive research showing that recovery housing is associated with better outcomes, the houses in rural communities have been overlooked by policymakers, grant writers, and the community as a viable part of curbing substance use in Maine. To address this gap, James Place has secured a 12-person, 3-story house with 2 living rooms, 3 bathrooms, a large backyard, and a garage. And upon completion of renovations, specially tailored to meet James Place needs, the house will be available to move into on or around June 1st. Based on the history of opening other houses, James Place will need to fundraise 2-month startup funds to get the house up and going. These total costs of this upfront cost will be $12,740.
My name is Brandon Arnold. I am 37 years old from Augusta, Maine. I am a person in recovery and currently living at James Place. I have been living here since February 7, 2019. The day this journey started, I was lost, I was homeless, broken, confused, lonely, and had little if any motivation to correct my way of living. Basically, I was ready to continue on my path of self-sabotage and destruction. I had just left a 45-day residential rehab I did not like. I had no plan that morning as to what I was going to do when I got dropped off at the Concord bus station. I had nothing at all except my bags. I had nowhere to go and nowhere to call. Like most people with substance use disorder, I had burned all my bridges with everyone, even family. I had hit today what I call my rock bottom. With a little hope and desperation, I contacted James Place to see what my options were and if there were any beds available immediately. I knew that my next step was probably death. I was able to speak with Courtney Allen, and within 10 minutes, she was at the bus station to pick me up. She brought me to what I call today my safe place. Without the help of her that day, I can't begin to tell you where I would be. I have learned to be grateful and thankful for who I am. Since moving into the residence, I have accomplished so many things that I never had motivation to do before. I am currently enrolled to begin college at UMA as a full-time student. I plan to educate myself about substance use disorder. I am involved in the community, participate in meetings, attend pro-social events, and most importantly, I am regaining trust in family and friends. I also have learned so much about myself and others. I have created a sober support network of people. The housemates have become my brothers. I believe that the bond that's created by some people of the same lifestyle and past is just as great and loving as that of a traditional family. I truly believe that recovery housing is an absolute blessing for most people with substance use disorder. I myself come from being in the criminal justice system for 18 years and tend to strive with structure. James Place has provided me that structure while I learn to live on the outside. I really want this opportunity to be available to my brothers and sisters. We need your help to make a reality. If we can open a new house in Waterville, we can stop telling people we don't have a bed, and maybe one day I can show up 10 minutes after being called to help someone. Donations can be made through Facebook, or checks can be mailed to James Place Recovery Housing at 23 Fowler Street in Augusta, Maine. Thank you.